Across the Celestari Empire, one name carried fear like a shadow that never faded. Commander Aiden Cross, the so-called Ruthless, human. Stories painted him as a cold strategist who crushed rebel worlds without mercy. A warrior whose eyes held no emotion and whose heart knew no mercy. When the Royal Council announced that Princess Queen Lyra would marry him to secure peace with humanity, the palace fell into silence. Lyra did not scream. She did not protest. She simply sat on her crystal throne, hands trembling beneath silken gloves. From childhood, she had been taught that duty outweighed fear. Yet the thought of standing beside that human legend made her chest tighten. Every tale ended the same. Enemies destroyed, fleets erased, surrender forced. What kind of husband could such a man be? The day Aiden arrived, the sky above the capital burned gold as massive human warships descended. The palace guard stiffened, weapons ready. Lyra stood at the top of the grand staircase, her heartbeat loud in her ears. He walked alone through the gates. No armor, no weapons, just a simple black uniform and calm, steady steps. His presence was heavy, yet strangely quiet. When he looked up, their eyes met, not with cruelty, but with something unreadable. Respect, perhaps, or restraint. They spoke only briefly. Formal words, diplomatic greetings, nothing more. Still, Lyra sensed tension beneath his calm exterior, like a storm held back by iron control. That night, unable to sleep, she wandered into the palace gardens. Moonlight shimmered across silver pools. She expected solitude. Instead, she found Aiden kneeling beside a broken mechanical bird. Its wings shattered. He worked carefully, fingers steady as he rewired its fragile circuits. When the bird fluttered back to life, glowing softly, he released it into the air. It chirped once before disappearing into the night. "You fix broken things," Lyra whispered, surprising herself. Aiden glanced up, startled, then nodded. "I try." In that moment, the Ruthless legend cracked. Lyra realized she had never once heard a story about what he saved, only what he destroyed. And for the first time since the marriage decree, her fear began to shift into curiosity. The days that followed were filled with formal meetings, endless ceremonies, and careful diplomacy. Princess Queen Lyra performed every duty with flawless grace, yet her thoughts kept drifting back to the quiet moment in the gardens. The image of the so-called ruthless human gently repairing a broken, mechanical bird refused to leave her mind. She began to notice small things. Aiden always walked half a step behind her, a subtle sign of respect in human military tradition. He listened more than he spoke, studying her culture with genuine interest instead of judgment. When advisors argued, his voice remained calm, offering solutions that protected both empires rather than favoring his own. Yet the court still feared him. Whispers followed his shadow through marble halls. Servants stiffened when he passed. Even Lyra's elite guards watched him with tense suspicion. One evening, disaster struck. A malfunction in the palace energy core caused a sudden power collapse. Shields flickered. Gravity wavered. Panic spread through the royal wing as emergency alarms howled. Before anyone could react, Aiden was already moving. He sprinted into the maintenance tunnels, ignoring warnings about radiation exposure. Lyra watched from the command balcony as he vanished into the depths. Beneath the palace, minutes stretched into endless terror. Then a violent tremor shook the capital. Aiden emerged, uniform scorched, hands burned. But the core stabilized behind him. The lights returned. The shields locked back into place. Thousands of lives had been saved. Medics rushed forward, but he brushed them aside until Lyra herself reached him. For the first time, she saw pain flicker across his controlled expression. "Why?" she asked softly. "You could have sent anyone." He met her gaze. "Because it was faster if I went." "That is not an answer." Aiden hesitated, then spoke quietly. "On my world, we measure leadership by who is willing to stand in the fire first." Something inside Lyra shifted. Later, as she personally oversaw his treatment, she noticed scars tracing his arms and shoulders. Old wounds, healed and layered. Each one told a silent story of battles survived. Not for conquest, but for protection. That night, the rumors began to change. The servants whispered of a human who saved the palace. The guards spoke of a commander who risked his life without hesitation. And Lyra realized the galaxy feared him not because he loved destruction, but because he was unstoppable when protecting those under his care. For the first time, she felt something dangerous blooming in her chest. Trust. The final ceremony arrived beneath a sky filled with drifting star lanterns, each glowing orb carrying a silent wish for peace. The grand hall overflowed with diplomats, generals and royal envoys from 100 worlds. All had come to witness the union that would reshape galactic history. Princess Queen Lyra stood alone behind the crystal doors, her breath unsteady. Fear still lingered, but it was no longer fear of Aiden. It was fear of hope. When the doors opened, silence fell like a held breath. Aiden waited at the center of the hall, standing tall in ceremonial human uniform, eyes calm, posture steady. No armor, no weapons, only trust. As Lyra approached, she felt the weight of countless expectations pressing down upon her. Empires, treaties, fragile peace, all balanced on this single moment. Then her foot slipped. Before panic could rise, Aiden moved. He caught her with effortless strength, steadying her with gentle care. The hall gasped, but he only leaned closer, his voice meant for her alone. "I've got you." 3 simple words. In that instant, Lyra understood everything the legends had missed. This man, feared across the galaxy, carried a heart trained not for cruelty, but for responsibility. His ruthlessness was not born from hatred. It was forged from the refusal to let innocent lives be lost. The vows were spoken, ancient alien oaths intertwined with human tradition. 2 worlds bound not by conquest, but by choice. When the final words echoed through the hall, thunderous applause erupted. The star lanterns outside flared brighter, painting the skies in gold and silver. Later that night, on a quiet balcony overlooking the capital, Lyra finally spoke the question she had carried for weeks. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "This alliance, this marriage." Aiden considered the distant stars before answering. "I was raised to be a weapon," he said softly, "but I never wanted to be one. With you, I can be something else." Lyra reached for his hand, interlacing her fingers with his. "Then we will be something else together." Below them, 2 civilizations celebrated. Above them, the galaxy waited. And for the first time in generations, peace was not enforced by fear, but protected by love, trust, and the strength of humanity.